Okay,
Okay.
so here we are, Olivera, on July 30th, Wednesday, 2025. So I'm going to pull up your galactic astrology report. So, sorry, do you see this here? Galactic astrology report?
Mm-hmm.
For Olivera Lazic, born November 29th, 1962, 10:12 a.m., New York, USA, by Benjamin H. Schwartz on July 30th, 2025. That all looks good there?
Yep, all looks good.
Okay, so dear Olivera, welcome to your Quantum Soul Guidance Galactic Astrology reading. I am honored to share this exploration of your chart with you. The insights you'll find here are crafted from my understanding, experience, and personal beliefs through the lens of the Quantum Soul Guidance modality. As you read and as you listen today, I invite you to engage with the material thoughtfully. Tune in to what resonates with your inner wisdom and let go of anything that doesn't speak to you. This report is a tool to aid your journey of self-discovery, but you remain the ultimate authority on your path.
I love that.
Yes, let this reading serve as a companion on your path to greater understanding of your infinite soul and higher self. So how does that sound there?
That sounds good. I really love that you have that part that you're the ultimate authority. Because without it, like for me, I get lost with that, because I don't follow astrology. But
yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You're the ultimate authority. Your oversoul is guiding us here today to share these truths of your infinite soul.
Yeah.
So first, we're going to look at your galactic astrology chart here. We're just going to take a second to kind of soak in the beauty of this holographic fractal representation of your infinite soul, a snapshot of the sky showing the position of the planets and stars at the moment of your birth. And so,
oh, wow, said that way.
Yeah. So just looking at this beautiful spiritual mandala representation of your infinite soul, I want us to take a second first before diving in further to ground ourselves, a couple breaths, inhales and exhales, and to connect to some intentions that you have for today in receiving this galactic astrology reading. So just taking a couple moments to tap into the breath, some inhales and exhales. And as you focus on any intentions you have, if anything comes to mind you'd like to share, feel free to share that.
I'm always in search of wisdom, knowledge, and practical tools to help me get there.
Wisdom, knowledge, and practical tools. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to set the intention for my higher self to be able to connect with your higher self, to be guided in bringing forward the most relevant information right now on your soul's evolutionary path. And I have here my heart chakra singing bowl. And I'm still figuring out Zoom levels. And so the vibrations are so pure that you only hear the first chime and then it kind of zeroes out. But the vibrations are here. So I just want to take a second to kind of focus on that intention of wisdom, knowledge, and being guided.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that is really interesting.
Okay, thank you, Olivera. So as we look at this astrological chart here, I want to take a moment just to orient ourselves to see what it is we're looking at. So we see this 360-degree wheel that represents the sky. And you see over here on the left side, this is your ascendant. So when people talk about your rising sign, like your Capricorn rising, it's because your ascendant is right here at 20 degrees of Capricorn. And that represents the eastern horizon where the sun rises every morning. That is where the ascendant is. And so we're looking at the moment you were born, what part of the zodiac was rising over that eastern horizon? And at the moment you were born, 20 degrees of Capricorn was right at that eastern horizon point. So that's called your rising sign. And that sets up your whole chart. So if we want to look
for explaining that to me.
Of course, right? Lots of fun things to explain. And at any point, if you have any questions or you want to bring anything up, just jump in anytime. That this is for you. So if we think about how the sun moves in the sky through the day, it's called its diurnal rotation. The sun rises on the eastern horizon here on the left side. And then as it gets high throughout the morning, it comes to the highest point at noon, like around noon-ish. And then it starts descending to the western horizon. So over here, exactly opposite the ascendant is the descendant. And that's right at that western horizon where the sun goes underneath the sky. And that's called the descendant here. And then the sun's going to make its path underneath. I mean, from our perspective, it's as if it's going underneath the earth. And then this is the most, lowest, most underneath the earth part here. And then it comes back to the eastern horizon the next day. So that's called the diurnal path, the daily movement of the sun from our perspective on earth. And it goes in this clockwise direction. But the planets throughout the year, as they're moving counterclockwise around this chart like this, including the sun. So the sun's path from our viewpoint throughout the year is going counterclockwise like this. And the ascendant becomes the first marking of your first house. It's the moment where you said, I am in this incarnation. And so that sets up your first house. And so here we come to the house systems. Now, have you heard about the house systems in astrology, like first house, second house, third house? They show different life areas where these dramas are playing out. So I like to use this analogy. So here in the middle of the chart, we see all of these planets and points, see all these glyphs, these little symbols that represent each of the planets and the points. On the very outside of the wheel, we see these glyphs are the zodiac signs. You see Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries. These are all the zodiac signs. And then on the inner wheel, you see the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the houses. Okay. So if your life is a drama that's playing out, each of these planets and points are the different characters that are playing out that drama. And each of them has their own personality of how they want to express themselves in the drama of your life. And then the zodiac signs are like the wardrobe or the clothing that those characters are putting on to filter the expression of their personality. So the zodiac signs are like colored lenses, wardrobe that the planets put on to kind of filter the energy that they're bringing into your life. And then the houses here represent the different stages or the film set, the individual film set of where that drama is playing out. What part of your life is that playing out in? Okay. And so at the very end of this report, I have a references page. I'm going to show you really fast with some helpful information. So on this resources references page, I have these 12 Ask for Houses chart. As a quick reference, if you're ever confused, like what does the first house mean? What does the 8th house mean? This is a quick reference. So your ascendant begins your first house of self. It's I am, yourself, your appearance, your body, your first impressions, your identity, your ego self. That's your first house. And then we start the evolutionary path of like a human soul. So from first house of self, we move to the second house of I have. I value. So it's your possessions, your money. And then we come to your third house.
Hold on a second, because this is also new to me. So let's go to the first house. Yes. So I am, the two glyphs, that's Sagittarius and
Capricorn. So here's Aries right here.
Oh, okay, Aries.
And here's Mars. And Yes, so that's Aries and Mars. And it's because Aries is the first zodiac sign of the 12. And so they're going to make a correlation here that the first house is about self-body and Aries is the first zodiac of the 12. So they have some similarities between those two, that it's like it's beginning the cycle. And then the second house, it goes from I am to I have. Now it's about the things that I have, my possessions, money, material possessions. Then it goes to the third house of I think. It's about the mind. It's about communication, local neighborhoods, siblings, the things in the vicinity to me. And then we go to the fourth house of home, family, and roots. It's the most internal part of our nature. It's I nurture. See here, it's at the very bottom of the chart, that most hidden underneath the earth is that closest to home and our heart. It's our roots, our ancestry. That's the fourth house. And then the fifth house is about romance, creativity, self-expression, children, play, love affairs, romance.
Okay.
And then the sixth house is going to be I serve, I do. The sixth house is about health and wellness, daily routines, our work, as in what are the daily things that I have to do for my work? And then our employees, pets, that's sixth house realm. So those are the first six houses. Now we come to the second half, and we're going to create these polar axes here. So the seventh house is I connect. It's about relationships, long-term partnerships. And so you see it's opposite of the first. The first house is I am, and the seventh house is I connect, I relate. It's about the other. It's about our relationships. And then the eighth house is opposite the second. Remember, the second is my money, my possessions. The eighth house is our money, our possessions. So it's the material possessions that you share with your partners and the people around you. Okay. And the eighth house is also a deeply transformative house. So it's not just shared resources, but it also has to do with like the secrets and mysteries of life and death, of sex and intimacy. It's those shared resources between partners. And then we go to the ninth house, which is opposite the third. Remember, the third was about like local neighborhoods, communication, our siblings. The ninth house is about long distance travel on a global scale. It's about taking communication to a global level. It's about higher learning, higher education, our philosophies, our spiritual belief systems. That's in the ninth house here. I explore, I teach. Then we come to the 10th house, which is about, it's the most outward facing. Remember, the fourth house is the most internal, family roots. Exactly opposite that is the most external. The 10th house of career, your public image, the legacy you want to leave in the world. It's your most outward facing self, is that 10th house of career, I achieve. Then we come to the 11th house of I aspire. The 11th house is friends, social networks, groups. So coming from our legacy career, now it's that shared thing of like social networks, friends, alliances. I aspire is the 11th house. And then the last house, 12th house, is a deeply spiritual house because it's the merging into the oneness before coming to the self again. So the 12th house is about endings and beginnings. It's ending the cycle and it's about to merge into the next octave of that evolution. So the 12th house is about endings, healing, closure, spirituality, solitude, old age, afterlife, what's hidden. It's the subconscious. So that's kind of those 12 house areas. And it's basically all the different life areas through human evolution of I am, myself, to I have, I possess, and then all around the chart there. Does that make sense? You have any questions there?
Well, I probably have tons of questions, but it has to just all soak in.
It'll all soak in, yep.
I have like a silly question, like just why are there some with 2 glyphs and some with 3?
That's a good question. So these are dealing with what we call planetary rulers. And so some of the, in traditional astrology, so for instance, Capricorn, which is up here, Capricorn, this is Capricorn, is ruled by Saturn. And so that's why I have these 2 glyphs here. Here's Aquarius. In traditional astrology, Aquarius is ruled by Saturn as well. But in modern astrology, it's ruled by Uranus. And so that's why it has 3 here, because there's a traditional ruler and a modern ruler.
Okay.
That's a good question. So those are the 12 houses there. Now we're going to come back to your natal chart here. And now we're going to look at the patterns of where your planets are landing in your chart, in your houses. What life areas are being activated by the characters that are playing out your life drama. So we see here in the first house, we have this is the South Node, which is your karma from past lives. It represents your past that you're bringing into this life. Your Saturn, which is about, it's about planning, long-term goals, leadership, Saturn here. And then this is your part of Fortune, which is about what brings you the greatest joy in life. That's your part of Fortune. And then opposite that, you see in your 7th house of relationships, long-term partnerships, we have your North Node. Your North Node is your life purpose, your life mission, what you've come here to evolve. And your North Node is right here at the beginning of Leo in the 7th house of partnerships. So right away, that's saying that there's something about the life area of partnerships and relationships that's important to your life mission of what you've come here to accomplish in the zodiac sign of Leo. We also have Mars, which is about what you're passionate about. Mars is I act, it's passion, drive, it's assertive energy, it goes and gets things. That's also in the 7th house of relationships. And then see this VX, that's the vertex. The vertex is the point of fate or preordained events in life that come along to bring about transformations. And so your vertex, point of fate, your Mars and North Node are all in the 7th house of relationships. We see that axis here of 1st house of self, 7th house of relationships has this big energy that's playing out with all those 6 characters. Does that make sense?
Somewhat.
Okay. So we're going to continue diving into all this. I want to show what the report looks like here. So here we have your birth chart. On the next couple pages, it breaks it down even further with each of the different fixed star alignments. So here we see on your birth chart, we have in the middle the planets and points, the zodiac signs, the houses, and then on the very outside, we have the names of some fixed stars, which are directly conjunct your natal planets. So we see, for instance, your ascendant is conjunct the M57 ring nebula in the Lyra constellation, which is a really beautiful conjunction with your ascendant. We're going to talk about what that means for your galactic soul origins. We see your sun and Mercury are conjunct Antares in the Scorpius constellation. So these conjunctions to your personal planets and your outer planets are suggesting galactic origins of your soul, of places that you perhaps have experienced incarnations before coming to this world. So those are the fixed star conjunctions. Now, on these next couple pages, it talks about all the fixed stars related to your chart, not just the conjunctions in the same place, but also oppositions, trines, sextiles, and squares. Have you heard of those before? They're called aspects. So these are called aspects. An aspect means facing or looking at each other. So your planets and the fixed stars they connect with, they look at each other from different angles. So a conjunction means they're in the same place, they're conjunct. And opposition means they're opposing each other, they're looking directly at each other. Then a trine is a 120-degree angle. So it means that they're looking at each other from 120 degrees. A sextile is a 60-degree angle. They look at each other from 60 degrees. And so trines and sextiles are viewed as very beneficial aspects, meaning that these are blessings in your chart, where these are star nations that their energy is helping you in achieving your goals and mission there. And then a square is a 90-degree angle. A square is like a harsh friction point that shows something that wants to change and move. So squares are sometimes viewed as challenges in your chart because it's a friction point where the energy of that star wants you to integrate it more into that expression of that planet for its best expression. So squares are viewed as challenges, but I like to view it as like a gift wrapped in a challenge, because it's a friction point, but it's really helping towards your evolution. So even though it seems like it's a little bit challenging, in the end, it's for your greater good and evolution. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's interesting because when you first laid out the chart, the other page with the diagram, like I want to see it in 3D because I can't get it. So now that you're saying that part of it, that's what I want to see.
Yes.
I just want to go.
I love that thought of wanting to see it in 3D, because this is something I want to share as well. And it's the idea that this galactic astrology quantum soul guidance session is really a telepathic holographic transmission. So we're using linear language using 90 minutes to talk word by word to explain things, but really this information exists as a holographic telepathic transmission. And your higher self, your oversoul, is able to tap into that information and to share it with you over time. And so I just want to kind of plant that seed of knowing that this information exists as a whole in that 3-dimensional, even 5-dimensional experience. And we're going to take time from a linear word by word fashion to talk through it, but opening ourselves to receiving those telepathic holographic transmissions as well. So I like that idea.
Yeah, no, it's like it's really like I'm like, oh, God, what does it look like? I'm trying to imagine it. So I'm a little not unfocused, but trying to focus on that. So another question, this is probably a silly thing, but I can't help but to think this. So like if there were, I don't know, 10 people had these done, right? Let's just pretend, right?
Yep.
Do people's charts usually have the same type of clustering, or does it sometimes fill the circle?
Yeah, so no chart is the same. They're all completely unique.
Sure, I get that.
And some people have a very even spread around the chart, and some people are very clustered in one place.
So yeah, so like from a big picture, I guess that's my first thing. I'm like, wow, there is such a void in
this part here.
Right.
And so it's good to notice those patterns, and then to realize that a void isn't a bad thing either.
No, right.
So these are called empty houses. And from a different perspective, empty houses mean sometimes that it's an area of your life that you've already developed in your past lives. And so in this life, it's not as much of an emphasis for you because you already feel like you've developed those areas, and your soul wants to focus on working on some other life areas.
Okay, now that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And so we see at your spread, we have this first house of self, 7th house of others, of partners and relationships, that's having this dance between those 6 placements. Then we see your 8th house of deep transformation, shared resources, has your Uranus and your Pluto, 2 really big energies. Uranus is revolutionary quantum leaps of change, sudden changes. And Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth, of deep transformations. And both of those are in your 8th house of deep transformations. So that's very powerful.
What was 8 again?
The 8th house is shared resources, and as well as deep transformation, secrets of life and death. I like the 8th house as a Bufo house. 8th house.
It sounds like a Bufo house to me. It's exactly.
8th house and 12th house are the Bufo houses to me, because the 8th house and 12th house are very much about death and rebirth, deep transformations.
So again, just back to that the void thing. Then there's a void within those 2 things, and that makes me like, oh, how come? I see things in patterns. So.
And it's because in that 3rd house of local neighborhoods, 4th house of family, 5th house of self-expression, 6th house of daily routines and work, you kind of developed those in your past lives. And now you want to focus on that 1st house of self, 7th house of relationships, really working on that energy. Your 8th house of deep transformations, you got your Uranus and Pluto. In your 9th house.
What's the void in there?
Are you saying this part right here?
Yes, right.
So this is at the end of Virgo and the beginning of Libra. So that's also part of the house, but that whole area is going to be colored by these planets here. So Pluto and Uranus are at the beginning of the house, but they're kind of setting the energy for that whole house area.
But they give me some space to do it in, it looks like.
Yes, they're losing space. Sometimes it takes space for those deep transformations.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
And in your 9th house of higher education, higher learning, long distance travel, that global influence, it's also like publishing, getting a message out far and wide to people, spirituality, it's a place of God. This has your Black Moon Lilith, which is raw, unfiltered, energy of reclaiming the shadow expressions of yourself. So Black Moon Lilith is all about owning your shadow expressions as a part of your divine sovereignty.
Okay.
And we also have your Venus, planet of, Venus is I value. It's about love, relationships, material things that you value. So it's about money as well, precious metals, that's Venus. And Neptune, the planet of spirituality, dreams, intuition. It blurs the boundaries between things. You have Venus and Neptune are very closely conjunct, 2 degrees apart. So this is one of your birth signatures that's very powerful. So you were born with this Venus-Neptune conjunction. So Neptune, planet of spirituality, intuition, with Venus, the planet of love, relationships, value, are coming together in a really beautiful alignment there. Right at the beginning, right before your midheaven. So remember midheaven. So midheaven means the highest point of the sky at the moment you were born. So the moment you were born, your ascendant was 20 degrees of Capricorn, which starts 1st house of self, and your midheaven, the highest point in the sky, which starts your public life, your career, was 14 degrees of Scorpio, which means that your 10th house of career is ruled by the zodiac sign of Scorpio. Scorpio is also about deep transformations. It's a place of alchemy, the alchemist. Scorpio is fixed water. Fixed water goes deep. It digs into the darkness of what's underneath, so you can bring it up to the light. And that's the alchemy, the transformation of Scorpio. So your career, what you're here to share with the world, is related to those that Scorpio deep fixed water, transformations, alchemy, bringing darkness up into light and transforming it. That's related to your 10th house of career. And you see that your Neptune and your midheaven are actually the exact same degree. They're both at 14 degrees, but the Neptune is just right before the midheaven, meaning that your Neptune is in your 9th house of long distance travel, higher learning, but it's really, really tightly conjunct with your midheaven, which is beginning your career. So it's like your Venus and Neptune are kind of trailblazing the way for your career. They're kind of setting up the energy that's going to demarcate your 10th house of public life. Does that make sense?
Sure. So hold on. So a question. So I don't know if I know how to articulate this question, but I'm going to give it a whack. So, I already had my quote unquote career, right? Because I'm a retired person. I do not have desires that I know of the moment of having another career.
Yes.
But maybe I do. Maybe there's something I don't know. So is that an indication or not an indication? Because I had a wildly successful career. That's why I'm no longer working.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that, or?
Yes, it's a great question. And in these astrological readings, we're dealing with archetypes. And so when we say 10th house of career, there's different ways to view that. It's not just your actual career, which you're now retired from, although that's a big part of it. It's also your public image. It's your most outward facing expression of yourself that the world sees. And it's also the legacy that you want to leave behind in this world as well.
Okay, because yeah, not to interrupt, but because the other thing is, because of course you know what I do, right?
Exactly.
Which I never consider a career, because I don't love that word mixed with bufo, but that could just be my hang up. But so I always wonder if that's really what it's speaking to. So I wonder again, because like everything here is not really indicating where on my timeline any of it is happening, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Right. Correct. So yeah, that's the part again that I would love to see it in 3D to sort of figure out where would that have been happening. You know.
Yeah, sure. And so this 10th house of career definitely speaks to your actual career that you had in the fashion world and all those things, but it also speaks to the legacy that you're leaving, your outward facing public image, which is definitely related to what you're doing now as well. So this, and it really should, that Scorpio alchemy, deep transformations really speaks to the legacy that you're leaving right now as well, and what you're sharing with the world in these ceremonies. And then you see that your sun in Sagittarius, which Sagittarius is mutable fire. It shoots far, it's optimistic, it's expansive, and your sun is in the 10th house. So sun is where you radiate, where you shine in your life. And you really do shine in that life area of career and public image, which speaks to how wildly successful your career was, and also to the big energy that you bring now to the legacy you're leaving and your outward facing image with your sun right there in that 10th house of public image.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
I could be really forgetful, but I wish that the other chart, the one that showed the houses, was side by side. No, the other one.
Yes.
So I could see it while you're talking, because you remember it, but I can't.
No worries. Yeah. And it's why I have the chart in here for future reference as well. So when the session is done, I'm going to email you this PDF report, so you also have that. And I'm also going to have this recording once that's processed. I'll put the recording in there as well, so you can listen back. And then you'll be able to like flip back at your own pace between different things, like what is this house, where is that connected? But yes, sometimes it'd be easy to put everything side by side linearly, but in a linear fashion, but sometimes it's not always possible. So here we have your chart here. And then the next couple pages are going to go through each planet by planet, all the different fixed star connections, whether it's a conjunction, opposition, a trine, square, or sextile. It'll go through each of those. Then the next 18 pages are going to go planet by planet, point by point. So for instance, the first one is sun. Your sun is in Sagittarius at 6 degrees in the 10th house. And it's going to explain what does that mean. So first it starts with the basic characteristics of that planet. So the sun is I am, ego and identity, vitality and energy, self-expression, leadership and authority, the way it's your radiance and magnetism. Then what is the placement characteristics? What does sun in Sagittarius mean? Sun in Sagittarius radiates optimism, wisdom, and a thirst for adventure. And it goes through the different characteristics of sun in Sagittarius. Then it goes through sun in the 10th house. What does that mean? The sun in the 10th house is ambitious, goal-oriented, and strives for success and recognition. This placement indicates that your sense of identity is closely linked to your career, or maybe at one point it was. And then it goes through galactic alignments. So all the different galactic alignments, different fixed star connections. And then at the end of the page is the Sabian symbol. And have you heard of Sabian symbols before? Are you familiar with
No. I meant to say to you, I don't know what that is.
So we're going to talk through Sabian symbols as well. So the next 18 pages is going to go planet by planet, point by point, explain what each one of the general characteristics, specific placement characteristic for what does that planet mean in the sign, in that house, galactic alignments, and then Sabian symbol. And then, yep.
I'm sorry, I have to.
No, I like it.
This is where I get stuck, right? Because again, like, I come out of the box, out of the gate going, I'm not into astrology, blah, 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 blah. But then as you're explaining it, it's like you're really, you're not that you're arguing the point, but you're explaining the point is then becomes very, plausible for me, right? And especially it's like when you start saying it in like 3D, then I'm like, oh yeah, I can believe that. And from a linear point of view, I don't, which is funny, right? So now like what my head is stuck on, and because my memory is not so great, is I'm going, the I am was here on the chart. I saw it over here, which happened to be like where I had my ascending. I don't know, I'm all confused. But does everybody start with the sun? Is the sun always the I am, or just on my chart?
Yes. So the sun is always the I am energy from a planet's expression perspective. So we're saying planet, where really the sun is the luminary, but from astrology we view it as like one of the planets, like sun, moon, Mercury. So yes, the sun is always an I am expression of how you radiate in life. But then where it's placed will be different. So you referred to how in the house system, they also view the first house as kind of like an I am energy.
I am, right.
Yeah. Good question. So the sun radiates like an I am energy, but it'll be in a different place for each person. And then the first house is also about self and body. Does that make sense? And then once we've gone through each of those 18 pages planet by planet, so it's not possible to go through each of that in a Zoom session, which is why at the end of the report on this references page, I have a link here. It says your planets and points audio. So on this audio, I've already pre-recorded for you, me reading out loud each of those 18 pages. So going through each planet, zodiac.
Oh my God.
And so that recording is 40 minutes. So just reading those 18 pages out loud is 40 minutes. And so I pre-recorded that for you and put it as an unlisted YouTube video. So you can just click this link and you can listen to me reading each of those 18 pages as a meditation to kind of feel into the energy expression of each of your planets and points.
Okay. And
then I have one other audio meditation I did here. It's your Sabian symbols delineation audio meditation. So just reading the Sabian symbols and the delineations out loud is also 30+ minutes. So I pre-recorded that for you, so you can also listen at your leisure, kind of feel into the energy quality of the Sabian symbols. So now I want to describe what are Sabian symbols. So we see here on this astrological chart that it's a wheel with 360 degrees, and each of the planets is going to fall somewhere on that wheel. So Sabian symbols began 100 years ago. In 1925, there was an astrologer named Mark Edmund Jones, and he wanted to create a system that would be able to explain the energy quality of each of those 360 degrees. And so he teamed up with a psychic channel and a spiritual medium named Elsie Wheeler. And Elsie Wheeler and Mark Edmund Jones on one afternoon in San Francisco in 1925, Elsie Wheeler channeled the energy frequency of those 360 degrees in the chart. So we can feel into the energy of each of those positions. And it's called the Sabian symbols because Elsie Wheeler said the energy that she was channeling came from the Sabian Brotherhood. And the Sabian Brotherhood was a group of alchemists and ancient astrologers who lived in ancient Mesopotamia thousands of years ago in like the cradle of consciousness when astrology was first came into our awareness and humanity on this earth. And so the Sabian Brotherhood channeled this information through Elsie Wheeler for the Sabian symbols. symbols. And so each one of your planets and points has a Sabian symbol associated with it, which helps us feel into the energy quality of that placement.
Okay.
And so we'll read through a couple examples here to kind of show that. So the Sabian symbols are a great way to kind of train and practice our own intuition, to let our higher self also whisper to us the deeper truths of what does it mean to have your sun at 6 degrees of Sagittarius or your north node at 0 degrees of Libra. So with Sabian symbols, we always round up to the next highest degree. So for instance, your north node is 0 degrees of Leo, so we add up to we round up to 1. So the first Sabian symbol for Leo is Leo 1. So that will be your north node is Leo 1. Okay, any questions there?
I just got to let that one soak.
Yeah, let these soak in here. And then after we go through the 18 pages of each planet, each point, the zodiac placement, house placements, galactic alignments, and the Sabian symbol, then we come to your galactic soul origins and star nation connections. We're going to talk about what star nation energies are you connected with through your natal astrological chart here.
Can I get a 1 minute break?
Yeah, for sure.
Get something.
Do you want me to pause the recording?
Oh, it's okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I've been having some trouble with my not some trouble. I have to put a lot of focus on my eyes for their care, and my eyes were starting to bother me.
No worries. You want to get some glasses?
Oh, I have to do a little
routine.
Yeah, I'm sorry, a little routine. Should I turn off my audio?
No, you're totally fine. It's all up to you. So with all that said, let's start looking at some of your galactic soul origins in connection to the star nations here. So for your most ancient galactic soul origins, we're going to look at your outer planet connection. So Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus here. We see Neptune at 14 degrees of Scorpio. And we see that the fixed star Almach in the Andromeda constellation is opposite your Neptune. Your Neptune in the 9th house is opposite this fixed star of Almach in the Andromeda constellation. And so that indicates or suggests that one of your most distant or ancient galactic soul origins is connected to this Andromeda constellation in Almach. So I'm going to show you the star map here. Move this over here. The star map for the Andromeda constellation. We see that Almach here is in the left foot of Andromeda. And Andromeda is the chained princess in the sky. And here in her left leg, left foot is Almach, this fixed star. And Andromedan starseeds are freedom seekers, liberators of all limitations, very balanced masculine and feminine energies.
That explains a lot.
So the Andromeda constellation is not just a constellation, it's also a whole other galaxy. And they say that the Andromeda galaxy is kind of like a twin sister galaxy to our Milky Way galaxy. And scientists, astronomers tell us that the Andromeda galaxy and our Milky Way galaxy are actually spiraling towards each other in space. And in 1.2 billion years, like in the distant future, our two galaxies are actually going to merge into one mega galaxy, kind of like a butterfly infinity symbol spiraling into each other. And our galaxy right now, in our world, it's very tipped towards that masculine, male dominance, patriarchal energy right now. But the Andromeda galaxy is very balanced towards that expression of divine feminine. And so the Andromedan starseeds are here to teach us about divine feminine and how to balance that masculine, male, and feminine energy within us. And so through your Neptune, opposite to Almach and Andromeda, it shows that you have a connection to that Andromedan energy.
Oh, okay.
And as you hear that, do you have any thoughts about that? Any feelings or thoughts?
Yeah, I do. Hold on. That resonates with me. Definitely the balanced masculine, feminine energy. Yeah.
And then we're going to look at your Uranus is opposite Fomalhaut in the Piscis Austrinus constellation. So look how beautiful this Fomalhaut fixed star has, like this blue halo around it. And it's called Piscis Austrinus, which is the fish in the south. See, it's this fish constellation here. And in the mouth of the fish is Fomalhaut. Fomalhaut is one of the fixed royal stars. So there's 4 royal stars in the sky that hold up the 4 corners of the sky, watchers of the north, south, east, and west. And Fomalhaut is watcher of the south, and it's connected to Archangel Gabriel, the messenger. And Fomalhaut starseeds are divine messengers, highly spiritual beings, inspired through sacred truth revelations, creative in arts, music, or science, strong intuitive abilities, affinity to original Christ teachings. So Fomalhaut, the energy is very connected to divine feminine, like Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene energy, and has a connection to that Archangel Gabriel, the messenger. So through your Uranus, you're directly connected to this Fomalhaut, fixed royal star, watcher of the south. And you're also connected to Deneb Adige in the Cygnus constellation, also opposite your Uranus and conjunct your Jupiter. So Cygnus is the swan in the sky. So here we see Deneb in the swan in the sky, and Cygnus is a deeply shamanic star. So it deals with shamanism, and its cosmic grace anchors. Deneb Adige starseeds are messengers between realms. That's that shamanic energy, aligned with divine flow and higher consciousness, acting as anchors for high frequencies on Earth. Very private and highly sensitive, graceful, mystical, compassionate. So as we look at some of your most ancient galactic soul origins, we see that through your natal Neptune, you have a connection to the Andromeda constellation, Almach, that divine feminine, masculine balance, freedom seekers. And then through your Uranus, you have a connection to Fomalhaut, the fixed royal star, Archangel Gabriel, and then also to Deneb Adige, Cygnus, this one in the sky, deeply shamanic star, cosmic grace anchors. Any thoughts on your ancient galactic soul origins? How's that sitting with you?
It's sitting. I mean, there's only one exception, but it's something, but it's not standing out in any negative way, because things don't for me. But I've never had any kind of gravitation at all through anything, religious, right? So I didn't, grow up in the Catholic Church, although everything around me was about the Catholic Church. So that part's just something to.
Yeah. For sure.
What?
I said that totally makes sense, and it's good to note that. And in bringing up religious words like Christ teachings or Mother Mary or Mary Magdalene, sometimes we have our own preconceived ideas of what that is, and it doesn't negate the original energy of what it is either. So that energy can still be a part of who you are, and you don't have to relate to any of the religious dogma that other people try to put on top of it. If that makes sense.
Sure. And no, that makes a lot of sense, because I've always, I actually respect religion and churches for that matter, very much so, because I know what the original teachings are about and what the intention is, and so that's interesting. But I've never in medicine, and it's something that's not lost on me, I've never had a Christ consciousness, which is something that I kind of look forward to if it should happen, but it is something I've noted, because of course I see people have those experiences.
Yeah.
And it's typically young men,
Yeah.
So, interesting.
Well, planting seeds here for future revelations from our higher self to come.
Right.
So for our distant ancient galactic soul origins, we look towards those Neptune and Uranus connected to Andromeda, Fomalhaut, and Deneb Adige. And now for some more recent galactic soul origins, we're gonna look at your ascendant and your sun. So your ascendant is conjunct the M57 Lyra ring nebula. So first look at how beautiful
this is. So pretty. Wow.
Nebula, like this cosmic eye in the cosmos here. And the ring nebula is a cosmic portal. It's a stargate or a dimensional portal that energies can travel through and travel between dimensions. And that's directly linked to your ascendant. So Lyran starseeds are new earth builders, seeders of civilizations, builders of high vibe communities, inspire outward focused creation, structure leadership, divine masculine action, natural affinity with nature and animals, powerful manifestors. So we see Lyra is sometimes called the harp in the sky or the lyre in the sky. And the Lyra ring nebula is right here at the bottom of the harp between Sulafat and Sheliak. So your ascendant is directly conjunct this Lyra ring nebula and Sulafat here in the Lyra constellation. And then your sun is conjunct Antares in the Scorpius constellation. So we see Scorpius is the scorpion in the sky, and the heart of the scorpion is Antares. Antares is also one of the royal stars. So remember that your Fomalhaut was watcher of the south. Antares is watcher of the west. And that's linked to Archangel Uriel, angel of wisdom and illumination. Uri means my light in Hebrew, and El is God. So God of my light, or light is my God. That's Archangel Uriel, angel of wisdom and illumination, linked to Antares, which is conjunct your sun and your Mercury in the 10th house. Your sun in the 10th house, Mercury in the 11th house are both conjunct Antares. We look at how big fixed star Antares is here. This is our sun, this tiny dot here. We go through Rita, Aldebaran, Betelgeuse. This is Antares. So Antares is a huge fixed star. So it's also a galactic portal and a stargate. So you have lots of connections to these galactic portals and stargates with Antares, connection conjunct your sun, the Lyra ring nebula, conjunct your ascendant, and then opposite your sun is Aldebaran, which is the other fixed royal star. So we have Antares, watcher of the west, Aldebaran, watcher of the east. And Aldebaran is in the eye of the bull in the Taurus. So we see the Orion's belt here is pointing an arrow straight to the eye of the bull, Aldebaran, in the Taurus constellation, opposite your sun and Mercury. Aldebaran is royal star, watcher of the east, linked to Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael is the protector. He stands up for what's right and for justice. And so if anybody's being taken advantage of with your connection to Archangel Michael, you'll have the courage to stand up to protect that person or help someone out. And Aldebaran starseeds are embodied courage, capable leaders, great intelligence, empathic, and spiritual, connection with Archangel Michael. So looking at your recent soul origins connected to your ascendant and your sun, we have that Lyra ring nebula, Antares and Scorpius, and Aldebaran. Any thoughts or feelings on those recent soul origins?
No, I don't feel as drawn to them like I did for the first ones.
The first ones, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But
again, it's a lot of information, so it's gonna.
Information, yes. So we'll take time to let it soak in. Your sun is also opposite the Hyades constellation. So the Hyades cluster is also in the Taurus constellation. Here's Aldebaran in Taurus. And next Aldebaran is this Hyades cluster. And see, here we have the Pleiades cluster, which is also connected to your chart we'll talk about later. So the Hyades is, Hyades starseeds are artistic communicators, channels of universal beauty through art, music, and storytelling, inspiring creative self-expression, connected opposite your sun. Now we have Aquila, the eagle in the sky, is opposite your north node and conjunct your south node. So the north node and south node are, the north node is your life mission, your soul's purpose, and your south node is your karma from past lives, and that axis of duality there. And so those are directly connected to Altair, the eagle in the sky. The Aquila Altair starseeds inspire clarity, visionary power, action-oriented, eagle-eyed insights. It's about that eagle-eyed vision. And the eagle is also like an archetypal symbol for like Native Americans. Also in the Zohar talks about eagle. It's a very deeply spiritual symbol as well. So you're connected to that eagle energy with your north node and south node. And then A Crux, the cross in the sky, the Southern Cross, is conjunct your Venus. Remember, Venus, the planet of love and relationships, which for you, your Venus is conjunct your Neptune, right next to your midheaven. Your Venus is conjunct the Southern Cross in the sky, called A Crux. A Crux is also about transforming darkness into light. A Crux starseeds are insightful observers, in tune with the unseen and the hidden. The Southern Cross is underneath the globe here, and it's about going deep into the unseen, the hidden, and bringing it up for those deep transformations. Okay, so those are the main soul origins I want to go through there. Do you have any thoughts or questions there, if you want to bring up?
No, so like, when people say, oh, I'm a Palladian, or I'm this, I'm that, or whatever.
Yes.
Well, one, is that, so what would that, because you gave me so much over here, what would I be?
It's a good question. And that's something for your oversoul, higher self to whisper to you over time. And so at the end, I put here, the very last page is, you contain the whole universe. I am that I am. And this shows your same birth chart, but with all of the fixed stars in the calculator here to see where all of them fit in together. And so we're looking here at a linear fashion of like, which of those fixed stars are directly connected to your natal planets. So if people ask you what starseed, you could easily say, oh, I'm an Andromedan starseed, because you have that connection to Andromeda through your Neptune. But it doesn't mean you're only that. That's part of who you are. You have a direct connection to Andromeda through your Neptune. But you could also easily say, oh, I'm a Deneb Adige Cygnus starseed, because that's connected to your Uranus, or a Lyran starseed to Lyra through your ascendant.
Right.
Like an Antarian. So there's many different star nation energies which are deeply invested in you and are connected to your past experiences. And they'll come forward at different times over your evolution. And then we're going to talk about the supra-cosmic points. So supra-cosmic points there's the galactic center, the supergalactic center, and the great attractor and the Shapley attractor. These are supra-cosmic points. The galactic center is a black hole that sits at the center of our galaxy. And the gravitational force of that galactic center black hole is pulling our entire galaxy in its motion in the cosmos. And so connections to galactic center show a link to the quantum field for solutions, upgrades, and evolution.
Whoa, wait. Okay.
Yes. And that is trining your vertex. So you're connected to the galactic center, but your vertex, your point of fate, has a connection, a trining beneficial connection to that galactic center. And then even bigger than the galactic center is the supergalactic center, is an even bigger black hole that sits at 2 degrees of Libra. So the galactic center is at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. That's where that black hole center of our galaxy is sitting at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. The supergalactic center is an even bigger black hole that's pulling not just our galaxy, but multiple galaxies in the cosmos. So the supergalactic center is about mastery of relationship with self and others, because it's pulling multiple galaxies together. Then the great attractor is even bigger than those two. The great attractor and the Shapley attractor are known as gravitational anomalies, because they're such huge forces, we're not even sure how to describe what it is. It's like a black hole, but it's even bigger than that. And the great attractor at 14 degrees of Sagittarius is about inclusion or integration of fractals of the whole. And then the Shapley attractor at 2 degrees of Scorpio is the biggest gravitational anomaly that we know of. And that's behind the scenes exceptional influence. And so here we have all of your connections to these supra-cosmic points. See, the galactic center is trining your vertex. The supergalactic center is helping your north and south node. Your life mission is being connected to that supergalactic center. If you remember, the supergalactic center is about relationships, about pulling multiple things together. And your north node is in the 7th house of relationships as well. So there's this theme of partnerships and relationships that your soul is wanting to learn on your evolutionary path. Mm-hmm. And then the great attractor is conjunct your Mercury. Mercury is the planet of communication, and it's conjunct your great attractor. So this shows that your mind is a magnet for higher knowledge and profound truths. You have the ability to communicate in a way that inspires and unifies, bridging gaps between perspectives. Your words hold immense power to influence, educate, and attract others to your unique vision of unity and creativity. And that's the energy that describes your Mercury placement conjunct your great attractor.
Got it.
Any thoughts there?
I actually have a very big thought there. I grew up with like this whole idea of, I didn't have a great education, and I grew up, and I also stuttered when I was a child. So like, my voice has always been a bit of an issue for me. And also I feel like I'm more of an emotional person, even though I'm not. I have a great mastery over my emotions. Mm-hmm. But my way of communicating is emotional. It's not verbal. So when I speak, I tend to stop or hesitate with what I'm speaking, as I'm doing right now. I don't have the flow, and I've had an insecurity with it for so long, until about 7 years ago. Like I got over it during a Bufo session, and I'm getting now to the point of understanding that I do have this really unique perspective that is not rooted in any paradigm or dogma or whatever. It's very simplistic in the things that I have learned through my medicine journeys that I think are incredibly profound. But it's just a matter of my figuring out the words to articulate them to the closest way I can in how I feel them. Like I'm never going to be able to match that, because these experiences, as you know, are ineffable. But but there are some simpler words that can probably reach more people. Yeah.
Very powerful. That's beautiful. And it's directly related to that Mercury communication, thoughts, connect to that great attractor. And your voice has power. And it's not always just the words that you use, although succinct words can be helpful, but the energy that's conveyed through your unique perspective, through your voice, the messages that you share have great power with that great attractor energy. And as I was reading that, I was really feeling into things I felt from you, because sometimes you'll tell me a story of your medicine journey right from my journey, and it has a huge impact on me. There's a real power and weight to those messages that you share. Mm-hmm. And that's connected to your great attractor, connected to your Mercury. So the next few pages, we don't have time to go through all of them. We talked about your soul's challenges or gifts. So it's really should be gifts and challenges. I'm going to correct that. It shouldn't be your soul's challenges. It's your soul's galactic connections. So your gifts and challenges in the natal chart are connections to this Draco, the ancient dragon energy, which is squaring your sun, but also opposite your Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. It's the core wound that you brought into this life to heal within yourself, so you can help other people heal that in them as well. And this ancient dragon energy, the guides to autonomy, guardians of universal order, inspire sovereignty, are helping your Chiron and also inviting your sun to integrate that energy. Lots of other great star connections with the Centaurus, Shadir, the queen in the sky. We have Perseus, the warrior in the sky, healing the warrior archetype. Lots of fun things we can look at over time, but we're going to skip over some of these to come to. We mentioned Pleiades, so I want to bring that up here. Here's the Pleiades. So, people love the Pleiades. They're so beautiful, and there's something so powerful about it that draws our souls to them. Pleiadian starseeds are joyful connectors, witty communicators, social mass media savvy, see the highest potential in others, optimistic yet sensitive. And the Pleiades are trining your south node and sextiling your north node. So your north node of your life mission and your south node of your karma and past lives is getting blessings from the Pleiadian star nation. So they're directly invested in supporting you in fulfilling your life mission. Look at.
I wasn't Palladian. I knew I was Palladian.
So you have direct connection there to the Pleiades and them assisting you with your north node, your life mission. We'll look at Sirius A and Vega. So my last ceremony with you was for the Sun conjunct Sirius A, and the next time I see you on August 12th will be Venus and Jupiter conjunct Sirius A. So Sirius A is trining your midheaven of your public image and your legacy, also trining your Venus, planet of love, relationships, value, and Neptune, planet of spirituality, dreams, intuition. So all of them are directly connected to the Sirius A energy. And Sirius A is Sirian starseeds are wise teachers and healers, passionate about physical healing sciences, masters of body, mind, soul, holistic modalities, highly intuitive, compassionate healers, carriers of ancient Egyptian, Atlantean, and Lemurian knowledge. So Sirius A is connected to the ancient mystery schools and the ascended masters. So Babaji, Buddha, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Isis of Egypt, Hathor, Green Tara, Kuan Yin, all these ascended divine feminine masters are directly connected to the Sirius A energy. And Canis Major, the dog in the sky, Sirius A is directly helping your midheaven, career, legacy, Venus and Neptune. And then also on the opposite end of Sirius A is Vega in the Lyra system, and they're also connected to your midheaven, Venus and Neptune. Vega, ancient wisdom keepers, guardian of spiritual sciences, masters of sound healing and frequency, also carriers of ancient Egyptian, Atlantean, Lemurian knowledge. So both Vega in Lyra, remember you're connected to the Lyra ring nebula. Here at the top of Lyra is Vega. And then Sirius A, they're both connected to ancient Egypt, Atlantis, and Lemuria. So that's something to explore more as well. Any connections you might feel to ancient Egypt and Atlantis and Lemuria?
Oh, 100% with Egypt. One is I have been to Egypt. Everyone thought I was Egyptian. There's that. But I've always loved, ancient Egyptian history. And I've been so lucky to have made that trip and see this come to life. Incredible.
Sure. And so that's directly connected to the Sirius A and Vega soul connection here. And then this last one I want to talk about is Alphard in Hydra. So I want to look here at your chart where we see your vertex here. Vertex is that point of fate and fortune, is directly conjunct Alphard here. And we look at Alphard, because I think this is a big energetic imprint of your soul here and your soul's mission. Alphard in Hydra is the high priestess archetype, divine feminine embodiment, keepers of sacred wisdom, skilled manifestors through radiant inner spiritual power and alignment. So Hydra is this cosmic serpent in the sky, and Alphard is related to that high priestess archetype, and that's directly conjunct your vertex, point of fate and preordained events. And I want to look at the Sabian symbol for your vertex here is after a heavy storm, a rainbow appears. So I'm going to send this PDF to you. I have a separate PDF, which is the Sabian symbols PDF, which goes through the delineations. So there's a woman named Linda Hill, who's a global expert in Sabian symbols, and she has a website called sabiansymbols.com, and she gives her delineations for each Sabian symbol to kind of feel into what that means. So if you think about a heavy storm, after a heavy storm, a rainbow appears. You feel that symbol, and then Linda Hill says, this symbol shows the relief and beauty that a rainbow can bring, after a storm has cleared. A sense of relief can flood over you as you realize that the sun is coming out and the birds are beginning to sing again. This may be a time of difficulties and obstacles, but take heart as it seems that the end result will be okay. Still, you probably need to be periodically reassured by a clear sign that better times are coming. Remember, without the storm, there would be no blessing of the rainbow. Try wearing colorful clothes, open the windows and the doors, and get into the sunshine. And then in the second paragraph, you get some alternate examples like release from stress, spirit returning to infuse one with its energy, relief, rest and recuperation, the joy of survival, peace restored, rainbows and light, hope and faith. Then the last paragraph, she gives some shadow expressions, which are like selfish thoughts about the rewards inherent in conflicts, not knowing when to cheer up, bouncing around and creating dramas, constant turmoil, seeking storms. So for each of these Sabian symbols, when she gives the shadow side, don't worry that does that represent me or my energy? It invites us to kind of feel into that energy and see where maybe sometimes we do express that shadow side, and that's okay as well, because as we learn to embrace the shadow side, we can elevate it to its higher expression as well. So as you look at that vertex Sabian symbol, after a heavy storm, a rainbow appears, connected to that Alphard Hydra energy of the high priestess archetype. Any thoughts or feelings there?
No, not really. I love I love the symbol though of Hydra.
Yeah, I love that as well. And I love that high priestess archetype for your vertex. I feel that strongly from you. So there's so many amazing things I'm excited to talk with you about. And of course, in the next 15 minutes, there's no way to share everything, but we'll have time for this to kind of soak in. And then whenever any questions come up, we can always continue to dialogue and talk through things. You have both those recordings you can listen to as well to continue to feel into the energy of each of these planets and qualities. So there's another concept I want to bring up here. So we're going to talk about the idea of intercepted houses and what that means. What is an intercepted house? So as we look here at your natal chart, you see your first house starts with your ascendant at 20 degrees of Capricorn. Then the next line here is beginning your second house. So you see your second house starts in Pisces. So Pisces is ruling your second house. Okay. So Capricorn, your ascendant, is ruling your first house. And then the next line, Pisces, is ruling your second house. You see the next line is Aries is ruling your third house. Does that make sense?
Yes. My empty houses.
Yes, it's empty houses, but it still has a ruler to the house. And so there's 12 houses and there's 12 zodiac signs. And so typically each house is ruled by one of the zodiac signs. That makes sense?
Sure.
So it shows something special here in your chart, which is an intercepted house. We see your first house is ruled by Capricorn. Right. And then here we see Aquarius, but there's no line in Aquarius. So Aquarius is not ruling any of the houses. It skips Aquarius and it goes to Pisces. And then Pisces rules the second, Aries rules the third, Taurus rules the fourth, Gemini rules the fifth, but also then once again, Gemini rules the sixth. And then Cancer rules the seventh. And then here we see Leo. Leo is not ruling any of the houses. It's hidden inside the seventh house. And then we come Virgo's ruling the eighth. So this is what's called an intercepted house, where we have zodiac signs inside this house that are hidden, that are not ruling any of the houses. Does that concept make sense there?
No, it's the first time I'm hearing it, so it's
and so what that can mean is that the zodiac sign of Aquarius is hidden in your first house of self. And then the zodiac sign of Leo is hidden in your seventh house of relationships. And they're not ruling any of the life areas. And so how that can translate in your life, it can show that early on in your life, you might have had a harder time accessing within yourself the energy of Aquarius. So Aquarius is fixed air. It's all about like humanitarian, collective, futuristic causes. That's this Aquarius energy. And because Aquarius was hidden in your first house of self, you might not have had easy access to that energy early on. And it took time through your life to learn to access that Aquarius energy. Okay. And then same thing with Leo, because Leo is hiding inside your seventh house of relationships, and it's not ruling any life areas. That Leo is fixed fire. Leo is ruled by the sun. Leo is expressive. It's leadership and it's confidence and it's that bright, shining energy. Because Leo was hidden in your seventh house of relationships, you might not have had as easy of access to that fixed fire Leo energy. And it took time through life to gain access to that energy. And so that's the concept of this. Your first and seventh houses are intercepted, meaning that within your first house, you have a hidden sign of Aquarius. Within your seventh house, you have a hidden sign of Leo. It's also interesting that your north node, your life mission, is in the sign of Leo. So I want to look at that right now. So I want to look at your north node. So north node in Leo. North node is also called the dragon's head, Rahu. It's your karmic direction this lifetime. It's like a lighthouse pointing you towards what your soul's purpose is. North node in Leo indicates that your soul is here to develop confidence, self-expression, and the courage to follow your heart. North node in the seventh house indicates that your soul is moving toward cooperation, partnership, and learning how to balance your needs with those of others. In past lives, you were highly independent and self-reliant, and now it's about learning the art of compromise. And as we look at your south node, which is past, so south node is the dragon's tail, Ketu, representative of your karma or your childhood. It's the energy you're bringing into this life. And south node in Aquarius indicates that in past lives, you likely played a role in collective movements or held ideals of equality and innovation. In this life, the focus shifts to personal fulfillment and creative self-expression. South node in the first house indicates that you're letting go of self-centeredness, impulsiveness, and going it alone. This lifetime brings lessons in the realm of partnership and mutuality, and you're developing diplomacy, cooperation, relationship skills, and fairness.
Okay.
So when we come here, so we see that there's this theme of like self versus relating with other people, and that your life mission, your north node, is pointing you towards developing those relationships. And as we see now, your work you're doing in the medicine is also developing those relationships. Those are one-on-one relationships that you're working with people on a very deep level. So not only are these signs hidden, but we also see in your sign of Aquarius, we have your south node, your Saturn, and your part of fortune. So those are hidden within your sign of Aquarius, which is hidden in your first house, meaning that early in life, it might have been hard to access the energy of your south node, your Saturn, and your part of fortune. And that through life, you learn to tap into those energies. Same thing here, your hidden sign of Leo is containing your north node life mission, your Mars, your passion, your drive, and then your vertex point of fate and preordained events were all hidden inside that sign of Leo in your seventh house. And so it took time to develop learning to access those things. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because, you know, like my formative years, like so 1 to 7 were really very, very, like my childhood was incredibly difficult in that it was one about not being able to express, verbalize or any of that. So for me, like, yes, that really makes sense from that perspective in my life. And then the Alphard one, which is, am I understanding that also to be romance in there?
So since your vertex is in the seventh house of relationships, it does show that you have fated events and occurrences which are related to relationships and long-term partnerships. That can definitely include romance as well, for sure.
So, but is there one house that's more about the romance?
So the fifth house is about self-expression, sensuality, and so that can also include romance in the fifth house, because fifth house is a house it's about joy, creativity, fun, play, and so romance and love can be included in the fifth house as well. And then seventh house is specifically about long-term partnerships, marriage, relationships, and so that can also be a form of the romance as well.
That's how I would see it, because then to me, like the other one is more about like sexuality, probably,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because that's the problem, right? The thing in my life that, you know, I would welcome the most would be a long-term relationship.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I've heard you mention things before about that seed desire for partnership as well. And that's directly shown here in your north node in the seventh house of partnership and relationships. And it's also interesting that it was an intercepted house with a hidden sign of Leo, where your north node wasn't easily accessible earlier on. And now it's later in life that you're getting access to that to live the full expression of your life mission. So I'd like to take you on a journey of the Sabian symbols for these 6. And also, is there a hard stop time need to be done today? Because I know that we're coming close to the time now. I'll be sensitive of your time as well. But I want to kind of look through these hidden signs with these hidden planets and points and the evolution of what I feel like your soul's journey is leading towards right now. So your south node at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Let's look here. The south node, Sabian symbol for Aquarius 1 is an old Adobe mission in California. And we look here at that Sabian symbol.
You know, I always wanted an Adobe house.
Isn't that interesting? I remember last time we talked about Adobe as well, and I said it's in your Sabian symbols. An old Adobe mission in California, your past life. This symbol shows a safe and comfortable place to live, work, pray, and practice our spiritual lives. The old Adobe missions were built with a great deal of effort, sacrifice, commitment, and a sense of community, with one eye on the path and the other on the very real, everyday needs of the people it serves. Sometimes we assume our beliefs are right and others need to be shown the truth. Effort should be turned to creating infrastructures to pursue these beliefs. Relating is not about control, but acceptance and reverence of each person's divinity. Withdrawing, spiritual retreat, natural surroundings, creating civilizations out of natural elements, finding places to work with spirit, sanctuaries and learning, houses, centers. So your south node of your karmic energy and past lives is an old Adobe mission, a place for sacred spiritual work. And then remember also, Saturn was in Aquarius in that first house of the hidden sign of Aquarius there. And Saturn, your Saturn at Aquarius 6 degrees rounds up to Sabian symbol Aquarius 7, a child born out of an eggshell. This symbol shows seeing the individuality, beauty, potential, or genius in people, particularly in children. Today's indigo and star children fit this description. They seem to come from nowhere and surprise us with their amazing ability to just know things. This child could be quite dependent, may need a lot of care, nurturing, education, or they could be very independent. Is this you or someone around you? Finding new ways of doing things ensures you have the needed materials and resources to nourish this new beginning. Transmutation, birth of a new creative original impulse, expressions of self in a whole new light, incubated ideas coming to fruition. Indigo children. So at this old Adobe mission, the Saturn, a child born out of an eggshell, I have this vision of you being born with an old soul inside of you that was already awake. That it was like this old ascended master that was part of your oversoul was with you from that first moment, like a child born out of an eggshell. Here we are in this new body, but there's part of you that was always there and that who knew who you were and knew that life mission that was in a hidden zodiac sign in this first house that would express over time, but you were there from that beginning moment. And then we come to the part of fortune, which is in that first house in the hidden sign of Aquarius. Your part of fortune, Aquarius 17 degrees, 32 minutes in the first house, Sabian symbol Aquarius 18, a man being unmasked at a masquerade. So the part of fortune is where you find your greatest joy in life. Your greatest joy in this first house of a man being unmasked at a masquerade. This shows being able to see through others, to be able to unmask people, to reveal oneself or hide away when it's needed. It seems that someone is having their mask stripped away. They're no longer able to masquerade. They are revealing themselves, who they are, and possibly their intentions. Secret motives may have a purpose at the time they are concealed, but they almost invariably become known. You may find that you or someone else finds themselves in this situation. Difficulties and embarrassment that can arise, but staying true is the important thing. There may be a need to look after your reputation. Secret motives exposed, having to face oneself, judgment about true worth, gaining true insight into someone, wearing a mask that suits situations, the joy of surprise. So this part of fortune, your greatest joy and happiness in life related to this, a man being unmasked at a masquerade. And I think about you holding space and ceremonies for people, and that's the true unmasking, when that ego falls away and their true self comes out. And that's part of your greatest joy, is the ability to facilitate that true unmasking, to let their true self come out. And that was always there in your first house of self, hidden in that intercepted house with your old Adobe mission, this child born out of an eggshell, preparing for your greatest joy, which is helping people really unmask to their purest self. Got your feelings there?
You know, I was trying to figure this one out, but I didn't think of what you said, which really makes sense. But I was having a conversation with someone recently that I said that when I come across people now and I have an interaction, and typically it's people that I don't know, once they start speaking to me, it becomes very easy for me to see who they really are.
Your motives, yes.
Yeah,
That's your gift. That really shows there in your part of fortune, that man being unmasked at a masquerade. You have the ability to really see through to people's true motives and intentions. And that is your psychic intuitive abilities, which is related to your high priestess archetype, your vertex, your Neptune spirituality in Scorpio. You have a deeply intuitive psychic sense, the man being unmasked, your part of fortune. So in your first house, that hidden sign, your south node, Saturn, part of fortune, they are counterbalancing your north node, Mars, and vertex. So we're going to walk through these here. Leo is the sign of fixed fire. It's the sun's expression. So it's that true God energy that burns away everything. You know, it transmutes to true God source, leaning towards your vertex, high priestess archetype. So let's look at your north node. Your north node, Leo, 0 degrees, 50 minutes, runs up to Sabian symbol Leo 1. Under emotional stress, blood rushes to a person's head. So your North Node life mission is connected to the Sabian symbol. Under emotional stress, blood rushes to a person's head. This symbol implies that emotions in the form of anger or passion can get in the way of rational responses and being able to move ahead purposefully. Sometimes it feels like almost nothing can be done, being immobilized with neither mental nor physical control. It won't last forever. It will pass, and resistance can just make some situations worse. The trick is to wait until all the available data comes through before making decisions or moves, as premature reactions can lead to embarrassing backdowns. Thinking things through when calm descends again will help sort things out. Difficult emotional reactions, becoming fired up about something, charging off in all directions at once, thinking with the head and not the heart, blood pressure, ambition. Then the shadow side's emotional suppression, taking things too seriously, unable to make accurate decisions due to irrational thoughts, headaches, burst blood vessels. So that's connected to that North Node, Leo. So we're gonna let that sink in for a second there, and we'll talk about any thoughts about it. And I want to come to your Mars. Mars, Leo 20 degrees, 44 minutes, comes to Sabian symbol Leo 21. Intoxicated chickens dizzily flap their wings, trying to fly. This symbol can indicate the loss of reality or rational reactions. Often it shows not being in touch with what's realistically possible and what's worth trying. There can be an attempt to do too much or too soon, or before maturing enough to be capable of doing it. Still, trying to do things that are outside one's natural sphere can be a good thing, as long as you don't overreach and cause damage. Sometimes first attempts at a new experience may prove less than elegant or skillful. Soon, you'll look back with amusement at these early attempts. Find enjoyment in the intoxication, but come back to earth when the feelings vanish. False courage, inexperience, trying to do things beyond the bounds of possibility, capability, or responsibility. Taking drugs, indulging in alcohol, losing reality. Giddiness and lightheadedness, unwanted side effects of trying too much too soon. Getting nowhere, getting out of it, escaping reality, manic reactions. So that North Node, the blood rushing to the head, and the Mars, intoxicated chickens, dizzily flap their wings, fly, very interesting symbols here, all leading up to your vertex, which is the high priestess archetype, Alphard. After a heavy storm, a rainbow appears. So I want to kind of weave this story of these Sabian symbols here, thinking about that. So as you look about your first house of self, your seventh house of relationships being intercepted with the hidden sign of Aquarius and Leo with these different energies. And it's interesting that your North Node and South Node are right at 0 degrees, the very beginning of that hidden sign. It's like your soul wanted to make sure that you knew with your life mission that you want to demarcate that line to say there's a hidden sign here. There's hidden gems, which I'm going to uncover over time. And I want to make sure that my life mission knows that right here, Leo, I'm going to learn to develop this courage, self-expression, divine leadership in leading to my high priestess archetype and my highest joy of unmasking the soul and the rainbow at the end of the storm. And then it's interesting that with the North Node, with that blood rushing to the head and headaches, and then the intoxicated chickens flapping around. It's interesting when you think about people doing their first ceremony sometimes, where people might not feel prepared yet. They're still struggling with the ego, and you can really see those Sabian symbols come to life and how people can react to the medicine sometimes with blood rushing to the head, or these intoxicated chickens flapping around. And that at the end of the storm, the rainbow appears, and that's your fated point of the high priestess, that you're holding that energy to allow people to go through those stages of the blood rushing to the head, flapping around, so they can reach that rainbow at the end of the storm there, and the full expression of your Leo in the seventh house of relationships and Aquarius in that first house itself. Any thoughts or feelings there?
Well, it's interesting that you wrap it up like that, because my first inclination was that those two symbols, the chicken and now I forgot what the other one is. I do not relate to them at all. However, I do relate to them in that I see it often in other people.
Other people, yes.
Yeah, back to the mask, when people, I can see them without their mask, and I see these two traits very commonly, right? And yes, you're right. Yeah, it's interesting.
Very interesting. So
just I'm sorry, it's also interesting too that in the beginning, the first part of the houses are about the inner, and then it becomes your outer, and then that line, it sort of starts exactly where that demarcation begins.
Yep. It's the holographic fractal representation of your infinite soul. It's amazing how your soul had all this encoded information from the beginning, from the moment of birth. This is like a codex to your higher self that will reveal itself over time. So this has been such a pleasure introducing you to your galactic astrology. There's so much more we can cover. There's one more thing that I just wanted to bring up, which is the Sabian symbol for your Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of blessings, abundance, miracles. And your Jupiter is at 4 degrees of Pisces, conjunct Fomalhaut, the fixed royal star, and Deneb Adige, the shamanic star. And the Sabian symbol for your Jupiter is a church bazaar. And so hear this. This shows being able to work with others for the needs of the community. In a church bazaar, people come together, bringing homemade jams, bits and pieces, brick and brack, handcrafts, and things that they've donated. A church bazaar is a great place to meet others, find a bargain, and help the community build a bigger and better sense of cohesion. Raffles and charity drives can have small donations building into worthwhile amounts to help those who are in need. You may donate some of your time, energy, or possessions for benevolent ends. This always brings some type of tangible reward. Old-fashioned values can be brought to the community through commerce and the warmth of sharing. Exchanges of spiritual knowledge, overcoming loneliness or alienation, selling things, the issue of worth, collection plates, brick and brack, bargains, pooling efforts, fundraising. Then shadow side, spiritual or social exclusivity, giving things smaller worth than they deserve, fussing around about small details, people being stingy, never enough money. And so your Jupiter planet of abundance is connected to this church bazaar, showing there's this end, look at the house here. And your Jupiter is in the second house of finances and possessions. So that's a beautiful thing. It's showing that the planet of blessings and abundance and miracles is in your second house of finances and possessions, showing a real ability to grow and expand your wealth in this lifetime. And it's connected to the energy of the church bazaar, that sometimes wealth can come from surprising places. Small things you have around the house can be really valuable and can bring value to you as well. And it's that exchange with the community around you, that wealth can come from our interactions. And it's like a spiritual exchange as well. And your Chiron, the wounded healer, is right next to your Jupiter in that second house of finances, showing that your wounded healer, your core wound that you've come to heal in yourself so you can help others heal, is related to possessions, to material possessions and finances in Pisces, the zodiac sign of spirituality as well. So it's deep spiritual healing with personal worth and finances and possessions that your souls come with your Chiron, and then your Jupiter planet of blessings there as well. So that just wanted to be shared there. Any thoughts there? Any thoughts or feelings?
Yeah, no, it's just been an interesting, 2 weeks of lots of, the bizarre types of things. And I don't know, just kind of funny. I haven't been to a mass, and I can't tell you in, I don't know how long. And I went to a mass the other day, and a collection plate came over, and it was this weird thing of like mine going, wow, I haven't seen a collection plate, and I don't know how long. And, I love to thrift. So a lot of them are church thrift things. And it's just interesting that these symbols have been all around, and now you're mentioning them, and it's all coming together.
All coming together. And now that we've put words to these symbols as well, it'll be interesting to see how they come into your life even more. And really today we're planting a seed. It's a telepathic transmission that will continue to unfold over time as your higher self and your spirit guides continue to reveal to you those hidden truths and gems of your soul's mission here. So at the very end here, I want to talk about some soul colors, which is a vibration that we bring into this world as a gift to the world. And of course, we can have many different soul colors, but as I tune into your frequency and your galactic astrology, two main colors I wanted to emphasize was the purple violet ray of higher order and spirituality. And this is a description of what that purple ray soul's gift to humanity is to teach us how to transcend this physical world and align with our higher selves. They can embody and can easily connect with the ascended master's collective consciousness. They are guided to creatively raise frequency of the planet and the human collective, artistic, creative, spiritual, deepened understanding of spirit and the divine. Connected to the crown chakra, they hold strong spiritual consciousness, feel called to transcend human limitations and lead humanity towards liberated state. So keywords: transcendence, transformation, wisdom, ascended masters, divine principles, majestic spiritual guide. So how does that purple violet ray feel in your energy field?
I knew you were going to say purple. How about that? I love the color purple. Like I really love the color purple.
It shows. And I love feeling the color purple from your being, from your soul. And one other color I wanted to highlight is the silver ray, divine feminine. Silver ray soul's gift to humanity is to demonstrate the potential of an embodiment of divine feminine principles and unity consciousness with egoless nature. These souls feel very early age their connection to God's source divine, supportive, protective, caring, compassionate. They embrace spiritual teachings of various religions as a common thread between them, connected to divine feminine ascended masters, Kuan Yin, Isis, Hathor, Mary Magdalene. Keywords: divine feminine, fertility, strength, wisdom, divine mother, teacher, ascension, compassion. So how does that silver ray feel in your field?
That feels great.
Yeah,
feels great.
I love feeling that purple, silver divinity. And at the very end here, I have a couple of transit charts just to show what that looks like. So this is for today, for our galactic astrology quantum soul guidance, 7:30 at 11 a.m. So this is a different software called Astro Gold. So it looks a little bit different, but it's your same chart. So on the inner chart here, this is your birth chart. And then the outer chart is the planets today and how they look. So just wanted to show that what a transit chart can look like. We can talk more about that in the future. But we see that Pluto, the planet of transformations, death and rebirth, big energy, is lighting up that your first house, the Aquarius, your South Node, your Saturn, your part of fortune, is all in the path of Pluto right now. So Pluto is really lighting up that hidden sign of Aquarius in the first house. And we also have Uranus is in Gemini now in your fourth house of home. So home and roots are being lit up by Uranus, and Saturn and Neptune are in your second house of finances here. So the next chart is for the Venus-Jupiter conjunction, 8/12/2025. So this is the next day I'm going to see you in person. I can't wait. And this is at 1:15 a.m. This is the exact, you see Venus, Jupiter, an exact conjunction at 14 degrees. And this is conjunct the fixed star Sirius A, which we talked about. Sirius A is blessing your midheaven, Neptune and Venus. So this is a really beautiful moment of Jupiter, the planet of blessings and abundance, coming together with Venus, planet of love, relationships, and value. It's seeding a lot of beauty to come in your life. This is your sixth house of health and wellness, daily routines. So lots of blessings coming to your life in those areas connected to Sirius A. We have the resources page here, which is going to have your planets and points audio meditation to listen to later, your Sabian symbols meditation. When I send this to you, I'll add one more, which will be the recording for today's session, will be right here as well. And the very last page is you contain the whole universe. I am that I am. So your natal chart with all the fixed stars in the calculator. It's been such an honor sharing your galactic astrology with you, your infinite soul. Do you have any other thoughts or questions before we wrap up here?
No, but I thought of something. It's so corny that I'm thinking this, but I've never really been again about my astrology, but it is fun to get it. Like when you get this information, not, I don't mean this per se, even though this was really quite a gift. I mean, like when oh, I'm a Sagittarius and I'm purple, I'm this, I'm that, blah, blah, blah. But, because I want to see it in 3D, like in my head, automatically I'm thinking, I would love to design a ball, and I'm going to think about this and how you can create someone's birth pattern in a laser cut 3D format to gift people.
Beautiful. I love that idea. And so I love how it's already sparking inspirations inside of you, which I love to see. And I'm excited for you to continue tuning in to it. So I have here also these are different, this is a theta wave binaural beats. And theta wave is a great way to just entrain ourselves into receiving messages from other realms. And this, the sacred G breath meditation, remember I did this with you once. This is it's a DMT activation meditation with sacred geometry. And yes, and some other good resources here. Okay, so once we stop hitting recording, it takes a little bit for the recording to process. But once that's ready, I'll send you an email with the recording from today and then these PDFs, so you can take time to go through this. And if you have any questions, I'm excited to discuss further with you and continue revealing the beauty of your infinite soul.
Oh, thank you so much for this gift. And as I said, I'm going to gift you your next session. And
can't wait.
This is fun. I'll dive into this. And yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to stop recording here. Give me 1 second while I figure out. I'm going to stop recording. Here we go.